Greetings everyone, I'm Dr. Anth. I've published several videos on being a woman. See the playlist below. In this video, I will discuss what has been and what still needs to be done to support educated women in the OECD. The Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, is a group of industrialized democracies. In most of the OECD countries, the majority of individuals aged 25 to 34 who are college educated are women. In 2018, the OECD country with the highest percentage of college-educated individuals in the 25 to 34 range was South Korea. In South Korea, almost 80% of women aged 25 to 34 are college-educated, while about 60% of the men in that age bracket are college-educated. The OECD average is about 50% of women and 37% of men aged 25 to 34 who are college-educated. As I discussed in the video, It's Time for a Redesign, see link below, women in the OECD countries did not have equal access to higher education until the 1970s or later. But once the gates were open, women flooded through and are now the majority of undergraduates on most college campuses. This would indicate that among millennials, women entering the workforce or climbing the rungs in their careers will tend to be more educated than are millennial men. Unfortunately, many college-educated men and women in the United States are burdened with student debt. The average yearly undergraduate cost of a public education, college education in the U.S. is over $8,200. Most U.S. students attending public institutions cannot afford that cost. They must take out loans if they are to complete their degrees. Students in most other OECD countries do not have these same burdens. Almost 1/3 of the OECD countries have tuition-free undergraduate education. In other countries, such as Austria, Hungary, and Mexico, yearly tuition is under $1,000. Yearly tuition in Korea, the most educated of the OECD countries, is relatively high at about $4,600 per year. However, this is still only about 56% of the yearly cost in the U.S. Young educated women in the United States are burdened with student loans and also do not receive paid maternity leave. See Show Families the Money link below. These burdened women feel forced to delay having children until well into their 30s. Sadly, fertility begins to sharply decline at age 35. The result is many women in the U.S. are unable to have children or unable to have as many children as they wanted. Most women in the OECD countries can obtain an undergraduate degree without taking on the burden of loans. If around 33% of the OECD countries can provide free undergraduate education, it would seem that the United States, the richest of the OECD countries, should be able to make the necessary changes that at least reduce the burden of loans. Among the OECD countries, the United States is an outlier in both the provision of free or reduced cost undergraduate education and the provision of paid maternity leave. Millennial women are the most educated group in the OECD countries. If the United States wants to fully reap the benefits of this education, the United States needs to reduce the burden of college loans and provide paid maternity leave. If changes are not made, the other OECD countries will leave the U.S. far behind as these other countries become magnets for women who want families and careers. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.